Leaders and healers from around the globe, welcome to the Power, Purpose, and Passion podcast, making daily upgrades and updates in your life so you can claim your power, clarify your purpose, and cultivate your deepest passions. We cover success principles and practices, inspirational ideas and insights, and the best strategies to be the healthiest, most vital, and energized version of yourself, ultimately making the widest and highest impact on the world around you. I am your host, Anthony Cheam, ready and privileged to serve you and make a difference in your world and in your life. Thank you for joining us. Cam, how you doing out there? Facebook, how you doing out there? World, what's going on?
Hey man, I'm doing really good. Very excited for this topic because, my life has been changing like crazy, and my body now needs to be able to hold on to that energy. My body needs to be able to keep up with my dreams here. So today we're going to talk about exercise, and I'm actually really curious. So I'm just going to go ahead and give you my situation, and I think that will help other people in that context. So like I said, I need to be able to hold on to energy. I need my body to be able to carry me towards the life that I want to create. And as you can see, I'm a pretty skinny dude. I need to gain weight. I need to build muscle. I need to be stronger than I am, just even physically. And I think what that does, even just for spirituality and mental benefits, I'm able to just carry more. I'm stronger in so many ways. And it's a discipline that creates energy in your life. It creates literally happiness, less stress, less whatever. I'm sure you know a lot more about that than I do. But where do you think we should start? Because, the whole team here is looking to start working out more and taking care of our body. Because again, like you said, it's the vessel. So really excited for this topic. And go off, Cheam.
Well, listen, this is a topic that I've studied for about 25 years. I've read many books, attended many seminars. I've been a fanatic when it comes to health and fitness. And I can tell you right now, the very first thing that I want to profess and to promote and encourage everyone listening and watching this podcast is, in terms of exercise, where do you start? The number one type of exercise you can possibly do above running or cardio or yoga or Tai Chi is weight training or resistance training. It is the only, and I repeat, I'll put this up against any study, any scientific study, anyone, that weight training, resistance training, where you take your body against, or you put enough overload on your muscles that you're very uncomfortable to the point of failure, that it actually is the only type of exercise that basically diminishes or slows down or reverses the aging process. It literally takes all 10 biomarkers of aging and reverses it. It's the only type of training that does that. So if you want to start your health kick or your exercise program, walking, great. Motion is lotion, movement is life. Yes. But if you want to gain the strength and the vitality you had if you're older, in your 20s and 30s, for people that have very little energy, I guarantee you within 30 days, if you start a weight training program with the two principles I'm going to ask you, 30 days, the next 30 days, I promise you, other than meditation, weight training is your number one go-to thing for your gross body, your physical body. If in 30 days, you work out 2-3 times a week doing weight training with two principles in mind. Number one, going heavier than you're used to. Lifting these 2-pound weights to fail, it's just not going to overload the muscle. You got to, and for you women out there that are watching this, I don't want to get big muscles. Genetically speaking, most women out there, unless you're an Olympic athlete or Olympic powerlifter, or you're using performance-enhancing drugs, whatever it might be. But the point is, if you're just an everyday average athlete or amateur athlete, because I'm an amateur athlete, I want you guys to know that going heavy will stimulate your nervous system, reverse or slow down the aging process. What would be better than that as you get older, especially for women? Osteoporosis is running rampant in our society. I remember reading an article saying that osteoporosis used to be just related to people in their 50s and 60s and 70s. They're seeing early signs of osteoporosis in women in their 20s and 30s. This is scary. In osteoporosis, doctors recommend, all these professionals recommend that weight training will reverse that, will prevent osteoporosis, or at the very least, slowing it down. Obviously, nutrition has a lot to do with that. But this particular subject, exercise, if you want to start, please start with some sort of weight training program where you're overloading the muscle. And the second principle, the first principle was going heavy. Number two is going to failure. It's like I ask people all the time, okay, so Cam, what do you think is the most important rep of a 10-rep bicep curl? Now, some people might go, oh, they're all important. Some people say the 10th one. I'll say, no, the 11th and 12th one. The person that goes, I can do one more. It's in that last failure rep where you push yourself beyond your comfort zone, where it is hurting, that you produce 90% of the results. Okay. So I want to, and Tony Robbins professes this and encourages this. Ken Wilber, one of the top spiritual leaders in the world, says meditation is number one, and then weight training is number two for a spiritual integral approach. And I can tell you right now, even in the Bible, for you Christian people out there, I can tell you that the body is the temple for the Holy Spirit. If you do not have a body, the temple of the Holy Spirit cannot work wonders and miracles through you. And the second quote, which, oh my gosh, I just lost the quote inside my head. But anyways, I get so excited about this stuff because take care of your body. So the body is a temple for the Holy Spirit. Sometimes the spirit is willing, but the body is weak. So you got to strengthen the body. Focus on weight training, get a trainer, get a coach, go on YouTube, get some videos, start there.
So this idea of compounding, like it multiplying as you're going. I'm terrible at math, so I wish I could do this in my head, but I was thinking like 2, 4, 8, 16, and it just keeps doubling. And as it doubles, by the time I'm at my 15th rep, I'm like at 10 million, and I'm like, you know what I mean? So if there was some sort of algorithm or something on the computer to literally show you the numbers, you would actually realize some things. Like for me anyways, I'm very visual. So if I was to see the numbers doubling and then doubling and seeing that if I went 3 more, I would end up being at 3 billion as an example, like things would just go crazy. That right there would inspire me visually just to know, holy heck, because I'm a gamer too, right? I grew up playing video games, and you have these things where if you're battling and you're doing really well and you don't take any hits, things double. Your experience doubles, your points double. So with every hit, it's 2 times more, 4 times more, 8 times more. But if you get hit, it goes down. So you got to work on that multiplier. And like that's huge, and it's what a lot of people don't understand. Like you actually do have to push yourself. You have to get out of
your comfort zone.
You have to push
100%.
yourself. Yeah. Because I mean, obviously, like if it's comfort, then nothing's gonna actually change. You hit a ceiling, and literally you make that ceiling bigger the more you push up. It's an uncomfortable ceiling, but boy is it ever gratifying. So go ahead and talk more about that.
So there's one book I want you to recommend. It's called Max Contraction Training by John Little. And this guy's a Canadian guy, actually. He wrote a book, and he basically has been studying the bodybuilding and powerlifting industries for many, many years. And he basically challenged a lot of the traditional approaches to building muscle mass. And literally, you can build a lot of muscle mass by holding a huge amount of weight against, let's say, a bicep curl. Let's say you're used to using, 50 pounds bicep curls 10 times. Well, what he basically professed was, why not overload the bicep? Rather than using 50 pounds of weight 10 times, why not hold 120 pounds, hold it in the max contracted position against that weight to failure?
Until it just comes down.
Until it just falls. So let me ask you a question. If I punched you 10 times like this, like very lightly, or I punched you hard once, what's going to hurt more and what's going to have a longer lasting effect? The 10 times?
The hard
or the one
punch.
hard?
Yeah.
Exactly. So 120 pounds overloading the muscle for 5, let's say 1 to 6 seconds or 1 to 15 seconds to failure will overload the muscle more so than 50 pounds with movement. Because if I try to get you to curl 120 pounds and try to move it, you're just not going to. But I guarantee you can hold it. In fact, I do this with some of my clients where I'll say, all right, can you bench press 300 pounds? They'll go, absolutely not. And then what I'll do is I'll put the 300 pounds and I get them to hold it in the max contracted position. And they're like, oh my gosh, they're holding it. But what they feel is every muscle in their chest, shoulders, and triceps and their core is being expanded, and it's being recruited. It's being stimulated, because 300 pound holding on a bench press is actually going to stimulate, overload your muscle and provide a greater reaction to muscle growth than lifting 100 pounds 10 or 12 times to, sort of failure, right? So again, 2 principles of weight training that I recommend. I'm sure most trainers and most exercise physiologists would agree with this, that in order to gain the maximum amount of muscle that you want and to reverse the aging process, then please go heavier than you're used to. Obviously, keep in mind form. But then number 2, go to failure. So if you're lifting 50 pounds 10 times, go, wait a second, I can probably push out 1 or 2 more, which is why, by the way, hiring a trainer or hiring a person that knows about this stuff, you'll get more results because they'll push you beyond what you think you can do. You might go, oh, 8's good, but the trainer might go, no, 3, 4 more. And then you're going to go, oh my gosh, right? So that's the idea behind, physical coaching, business coaching, life coaching, is to push you beyond your barrier.
Absolutely. And I think the best part about this too, Anthony, is so many people are addicted to time and freedom and whatever. And what you're talking about is high intensity interval, right? Like that sort of idea where it's like, you don't have to work out for an hour and do like Pilates. It's like you're doing 4 minutes of, you know what I mean? Like actual 4 minutes of the most intense thing you've ever been through. Like I watched a video and it was this guy entering Tony Robbins' home in Fiji. And there was this machine, and it looked like a grasshopper's vehicle. Like it was just like this weird thing. But as he was pushing out, it was like he was on it for 4 minutes, and it trained him as if he was training for an hour and a half. So, little things like that, like absolutely and is that not beautiful? Like, would you rather have chunk an entire hour out of your day to lightly work out and be comfortable and get less results, or chunk 10 minutes out of your day and go hard on it and get like 10,000 times the results? Like it's really a no-brainer. And I remember when I went to your house, Anthony, you showed me some of your workout equipment, and it was just like that. It was like the most intense thing ever, but quickly and effectively. And I like that. I really do. Should we not all live our lives as effective as possible? Like,
for sure. Like, I mean, I don't work out that much. Like, I work out, my frequency is high. I'm going like 6-7 days is a pretty regular for me. But in terms of per workout, 30 minutes max. Like I'm doing like weight training. I'll do a few sets to failure, and then I'll jump on my Bowflex Max trainer. And that's only 14 minutes where I go 25 seconds as hard as I can. And then I do a minute 25 or a minute 20 break. And I do that 8 times. And my full workout, again, it's only about 30 minutes. And then I do some yoga, some Tai Chi. I do meditation prior to doing that. So that whole entire process of upgrading Anthony Cheam 2.0 is basically about an hour and a half. Sometimes 2 hours, depending on how long I take, or if I want to deepen my meditation, I go a little bit longer. But the point is, even with meditation, I mean, we're going off here, but even with meditation, 10 minutes of deep conscious contact with the divine is equal to a full night's sleep. So people think that they got to meditate on a mountain for in a cave for 4 years. It's not necessarily true, right? They have what they call binaural beats. And I talk about this in my book about binaural beats, putting these headphones on, these specific audios that basically channel a certain frequency in each of your ears to put you in these high delta states, as if you've been meditating for like 10 to 40,000 hours. And it literally immediately, within 10, 20, 30 minutes, it puts your brain into this high, deep state of awareness. And you're like, wow, when you come out of that, you're like, creativity and genius is flowing like absolutely mayhem. It's absolutely insane how you feel after. And so that's the one thing I'm going to tell you people. It's, as you said, it's being more effective with your time. And so the fact that if you think you got to go to the gym for 2 hours, you don't have to. What I recommend for people out there to start with 10 minutes of a walk every day, where you're taking yourself to a 7, 8, or 9 out of 10 discomfort level. I mean, I just did a show on 100 Huntley Street where I talked about, exercise outside. And one of the things I told the person interviewing me, I basically said, oftentimes, if your current everyday practice of intensity is 2, 3, 4, or 5 out of 10, take your intensity level in terms of exercise 7, 8, or 9 out of 10. Take it to that level for 10 minutes. Just start with even 5 minutes. You don't have to go crazy and go for an hour. The point is, just start the journey. A journey of 1,000 miles begins with that one step. So I want to read you something before we continue. It's in my one book called Body 2.0, and I haven't released it yet, but when I was thinking about this podcast, I wanted to read this to you. And I was actually telling this to a new client of mine about the importance of your body. And I said to her, she owns her own business. I basically said, Cam, I said, your body is your most important business, right? Your body is your most important business. And this is what I basically wrote in my book. I will read this to you right now, if you don't mind me talking about this there, Cam.
Oh, no problem. No problem. Get into it.
All right. I often say to people, your body is your business. With that in mind, here's a metaphor for you. If you owned $1 billion business with thousands of employees, what would you do as a CEO of your company to keep your president, vice president, managers, and all your employees fully energized and working effectively as a team. You would lead them by teaching positive principles and practices within the workplace, right? For your body. Only your body consists of 100 trillion employees, the number of cells that make up your body. Consider this. You are the chairman and CEO of your company. Your brain is the chief of operations. Your heart is president of sales and marketing. Your kidneys, liver, lungs, and lymphatic system are the team responsible for customer service, maintaining a clean environment, and executing the mission and vision at the lowest levels. And the 60,000 miles of veins and arteries are the roads and highways through which your employees deliver the service or product throughout the world, your human body. If you start treating your employees poorly and disrespect them, guess what? They won't be inspired when called upon to do their work or rescue you when the storm comes. The point is, the better you treat your employees, the better the results. The better you treat your body, the more energy and power your cells will have. Your body business will yield huge profits and gains over the long run. That's what I wanted to read you from my latest book, Body 2.0. Now, that you can relate that to anything. If your body is has $1 billion of profit, I often say to people, one of the metaphors I use often too, is make sure the first investment that you make in the morning is making an investment in yourself, internally, physically, mentally, emotionally, so that you make a deposit in your health bank account, so that you basically accrue all this principal and you're getting all this interest, that when you do make a withdrawal from your bank account, it's from the interest and not the principal. Because you've gained all that energy. You've got a reservoir of energy that you can pull from. Imagine having that vitality for 24 hours. You're going full tilt. Like yesterday, I was going from literally 4 a.m. till 11 o'clock at night, and I wasn't even tired. I could have kept going, but I realized I needed to go to sleep, right? So I only slept for 5 or 6 hours, and I woke up, I did my meditation, I did my workout, I was ready to go. Now, people out there looking at me going, man, this guy is an intense level of energy. I wasn't born with this. It's been years and years of discipline, starting with one thing, working my way up. I wake up between 3:30 and 4:30 every single morning. People go, my God, how did you do that? Now, the question is, I can tell you right now, people go, my God, how did you do that? What time do you go to sleep? Well, I didn't start from going, at one time, I thought 8 o'clock in the morning was early. And then I go to 7:45, then 7:30. I didn't jump from 8 o'clock in the morning till 3:30. I literally went from 8 to 7:45 to 7:30, 7:15. And then till I got to like 5, I'm like, I'm waking up at 5. That is amazing. And then I started going a little bit deeper. And so and then I had kids. Which then threw a whole wrench in the whole equation. So then I had to kind of adjust my schedule a bit. And then that's why I started waking up between 3:30 and 4 o'clock, 4:30 every morning. In the summer, it's different because my kids are home. But come September, when my kids go back to school, I am waking up 3:30 every morning, sometimes 3 o'clock. Sometimes I wake up before my alarm and I'm juiced and ready to go. And that's all because I take care of this vessel. This body is my business. I make an investment in myself, in my heart, my mind, my body, and my ability to serve people, to serve you people, to serve people on Facebook, around the world, all my clients, you can, all the people I love, and all the people I haven't met yet. So thank you.
Oh, I love it. I love it. That inspires me too, because I mean, we're trying to figure out, a ritual for our stuff, like figuring out our body, because I mean, once you have that dream, once you have that reason, once you finally understand and believe that you can do it, you'll find a reason to take care of yourself,
100%.
right? Big time. And so,
100%.
I actually wanted to talk about sort of shattering what most people think about exercise. So two things I want to get into just before the end here is, one, your story, like why you started taking care of your body, like if there was a story behind it. Two, how can you tell people that, you know, what they've been taught is wrong? Like, oh, you got to go for a run every day. You got to make sure you're walking as much as possible. Like little workouts like that, like you said, are extremely ineffective. So if you could, shatter those beliefs that everybody's been told about exercise and all of this stuff. And also, tell me your story behind all of this.
Well, it really started, funny enough, I'm the youngest of 4 children, and my brother Andre and my sister were pretty avid athletes. My brother Andre was heavy into weight training, bodybuilding, stuff like that. And that sort of inspired me as well. But the other thing too was, what got me going was, funny enough, in grade 9, my best friend's girlfriend at Notre Dame High School in Burlington, I was wearing shorts and I went up to them. I remember it was like yesterday. And what drove me initially was pain. And you know, as a 14-year-old kid, you're all about ego. So she said to me, "Ew, Anthony, you have such skinny legs. You shouldn't be wearing shorts." And I remember looking at her going, oh my gosh, that's so mean. But then I became overly conscious about my body. Like I was some skinny loser. And so I could have easily went, oh, I'm such a loser. Her reality or her opinion doesn't have to be my reality. But I converted that pain into drive. I said, I'm going to show her. I'm going to work out over the summer. I'm going to gain 10, 15 pounds of muscle. I'm going to go as hard as I can. And that wasn't my initial, kind of spark. That lit a fire in my butt a bit to get me going. But quite frankly, over the next 5, 10 years, I got into how it was making me feel emotionally, physically, mentally. The energy, that output that I was producing at my school, in my sports. I wanted to go to college for fitness and health, which I did at Fanshawe College in London. And I wanted to learn some principles and approaches about how to teach this stuff to other people because I love helping people. And then eventually got to the point where I was teaching people. I got out of school. I became a personal trainer. I started teaching, boot camp classes, all these things. And I've been fit and healthy for so long that it's oftentimes when people go, my gosh, you have so much energy. And I'm like, oh, really? I'm like, this is just normally how I am. I've been this way for so long that at being anything else but this guy is kind of like, it's foreign to me. So when I see people tired, I'm like, come on, man. They just don't have that same sort of, I wouldn't say commitment, but that same sort of mindset or standard that I do, that I've trained myself to get into. So if there's so, and I've had my ups and downs, I did bodybuilding contests, I did all these other things. And I actually had, just for the audience out there, I actually had an eating disorder after my bodybuilding contest, because what actually happened was I got to the point where I thought I had to eat like a bodybuilder in order to look good. And so I'd go from one extreme to the other. So I would eat perfectly. And as soon as I screwed up, I'd go to one end. I would binge on 5,000, 6,000 calories. And that's obviously not the way I wanted to go. So I had to kind of study those addictive behaviors and resolve those addictive behaviors through coaching, through therapy, stuff like that. So the idea for me is, when it comes to health, when it comes to exercise, I take a very multidimensional and sort of integral approach to exercise and health. Now, specifically when it comes to your body, when it comes to exercise, let's just kill the myths. You don't have to work out for 2 or 3 hours. Again, just start off with 5 or 10 minutes every single day, commit to that. Now, even before that, Cam, we talk about this a lot on our previous podcast. You've got to have reasons before you actually begin. Reasons come first, answers come second, as Tony Robbins says. And the one thing I'm going to tell you this, I was having a new client yesterday, and I was speaking to her. I said, all right, here's the question I have for you. Imagine, Cam, oftentimes in my audiences, what I'll do is I'll ask them, how many people in here could run 42.2 kilometers from here to Toronto, a full marathon, in their current business attire? Rarely do I get people putting up their hand. And if someone does put up their hand, they usually go, well, I run marathons. Okay. So that's a rarity. Excuse me. So anyways, the point is, I rarely get people to put up their hands. And then I say this, I introduce this into this equation. And I basically say, okay, can I get a volunteer in the audience? And they might stand up and say, hey, how you doing? What's your name? Judy. Great. Judy, could you run a marathon from here to Toronto, from Burlington to Toronto right now in your business attire? And usually they say no. And I say, okay, do you have any kids? Yes, I've got a daughter and a son. How old's your daughter? She's 8 years old. Great. Do you love her? Yeah, great. Let me ask you a question. If I brought your daughter in here and I put a gun to her head and I said, either run a marathon or she dies, what are you going to do? And then she goes, I guess I'm running a marathon. And I said to her, whoa, wait a second. Two minutes ago, you were absolutely certain you couldn't run the marathon. Now you obviously are going to run a marathon. What changed? And they might go, the goal changed. No, the goal was to run a marathon. What changed was your reason for running the marathon. You had no reasons to run the marathon. Now you've got a reason, a painful reason to run the marathon. And then I switch it up a bit and I say, okay, how many people in here, if I guaranteed $10 million to be deposited into your personal bank account at the end, upon crossing that line, 42.2 kilometers, how many people would join me? And invariably, how many people's hands go up? Everyone's hands go up. And they go, my gosh, I want to run this marathon, right? Because they now have a $10 million reason to run it. So audience out there, I can tell you, before you go on this journey of health kick and exercising, eating healthy and all these great things and meditating, you've got to have a strong reason to start the journey. And what I told this woman, I said, listen, if not for you, do it for your family. If not for you, do it for your daughter. If not for you, do it for your favorite charity, whatever it might be. Find enough reasons to do it. And as you said, you will find a way. So with regards to that, if you have the reasons in place, and you sort of know my story, my sort of brief story. Exercise, you don't have to do it for long. Number 2, I would recommend start now. Start now. Don't start tomorrow. You know, it's I just recently put on Twitter, I said the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The next best time is now. Don't focus on, I've wasted 20 years. Start now. In fact, I had a client that was 90 years old, 90, and he did a 3-minute plank. How old are you? Right? You know what I'm saying? There's a picture on my wall of this woman named Gladys Burrell. She's 85 years old at the time, and she ran her first marathon. 85. It's not like she was a seasoned marathon runner. This was her first marathon. 85 years old. That inspires me. So regardless of your age, regardless of your circumstances, regardless if you're athletic, I don't care what your age is, your sex is, whatever it might be, wherever you are in your life, just begin it now. So number 1, 10 minutes, commit to that. Number 2, start now. And number 3, find a group that is health conscious. You become who you hang around the most. If you want to be fit and healthy, hang around fit people. If you want to be a millionaire, hang around millionaires. If you want to be a yoga instructor, hang around yoga instructors. It's simple as that. Hang around people that are fit, strong, and healthy, and you will kind of be drawn in. They'll teach you. They'll give you the roadmap that they used for success in your own personal goals.
Okay, there you go. That's the episode about exercise. And so the last episode, if you guys have not seen it yet, go check it out. That is all about sleep and rest and actually like getting that downtime, which is really, really important. And this episode was about exercise. Very exciting, Anthony, because we actually really need to exercise. I certainly do. And I'm ready for my body to be able to have that capacity to hold that energy and to deal with that energy. Like, I feel like it does affect on a spiritual level as well. Just your vessel, the only thing that you have at the beginning of your life and at the end of your life, it's this, right?
Yes.
And so very, very important. I love all the topics you touched on. So if you guys want to get in touch with Cheam, I mean, he's a lucky individual. He's got at Anthony Cheam on like everything. You know how difficult it is to get the same handle, dude? Like, you've got it going on. So, Twitter, at Anthony Cheam. Instagram, at Anthony Cheam. I don't know if you have a Snapchat, Anthony, but guys, make him a Snapchat. Okay. We're going to make you a Snapchat. Just because, for future stuff, because people are going to want to get personal. Yeah. And we want to reserve that at Anthony Cheam. Go ahead, do that right now, please, because, like, you never know. So, yeah, and also Facebook.com/Anthony Cheam Live. Because this is where we go live. I mean, eventually we're actually going to go live on YouTube as well and a bunch of other things. But we've got big plans for this, and it's very exciting. And we touched on so many amazing topics. I'm excited to take these snippets and share that with the world. So, I mean, last words?
Yeah, well, the next 2 subjects when it comes to health is going to be about nutrition. And then the fourth and final phase of this is going to be about mindset and all about the psychology and what you got to bring in order to make all this happen and live the richest, most abundant life possible. So thank you for joining us today. I really appreciate your questions, your love, your attention. If you have any questions, email me, Twitter me, whatever it might be. I'll be more than happy to help you. That's what I do. I'm a love bug. I just want to spread as much love through what I teach, through how I live, and through the relationships I have had the blessings to create and to develop, and the future relationships with you and the rest of the world. So to your continued upgrade and evolution, live it up with power, purpose, and passion.